Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to February 2024 MidBeach Neighborhood Association's meeting. I'm Ana Maria Ferreira de Mello, the president of MBNA, and it is my honor to facilitate today's meeting. MBNA represents the interests of condominiums and hotels from 24th to 63rd Street along Collins Avenue and Indian Creek Drive here in the city of Miami Beach. To begin today's meeting, we're going to do a roll call of board of director members. Then we'll welcome our special guest and hear from Florida Department of Transportation on some upcoming projects. We'll hear from the Commissioner Suarez on some of the legislation that he's supporting that will impact MidBeach, our neighborhood, as well as from other elected officials and other community members. Each one of our board members chairs a working group or participates actively in a working group. And they'll also provide updates on projects along Indian Creek Drive, such as the CEQAs, Jersey barriers, landscaping. There'll be bus shelters discussed, Miami Beach Drive promenade, the long-term plan for it. The Beach Walk Working Group will discuss Sargassum in their upcoming meeting on the 24th. We'll also hear from the Beach Walk Working Group, as well as Collins North. And so without further ado, welcome. And we're going to begin with roll call. Is Deborah Lake, Vice President, here?
Hi, everyone. So good to see you guys. I'm having some video issues. I don't know why my camera's not working, but welcome, everyone. So good to see everyone here.
Thank you, Deborah. And Deborah also chairs our public space working group. Is Esteban Porcelli, our Indian Creek Working Group co-chair with us?
Yes, present. Welcome, everybody, to our Neighborhood Association.
Thank you, Esteban, and thank you for also representing MBNA on the Transportation Parking Bicycle Facilities Committee, Pedestrian Bicycle Facilities Committee. Is our other co-chair for Indian Creek Working Group, Randy Hollingworth, with us?
Yes, I am, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Randy. Thank you for being with us. Is I believe Justin Jacobs, our treasurer, had a conflict. Is Justin with us? He is absent. Is our hotel representative, Jose Flores from the Addition, with us? He is absent at this time. Is our Beach Walk and Collins North Working Group chair and ex officio board member, Elisa Casanova, with us?
I'm here. Welcome, everyone, to our February meeting.
Thank you, Alicia. Is our Beach and Water Quality Working Group Chair, Oscar Vasquez, with us?
Yes, good evening, Ana Maria and members and guests. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Oscar. And I think that it concludes our roll call for board members. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and is there a motion to begin the meeting?
I make a motion that we begin the February meeting.
Thank you, Oscar. And a second from Deborah Lake, I see.
Yep,
Okay,
I second it.
favor?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Hi.
Yes.
Any opposed? Here none, the motion passes and our meeting has begun. So let's begin with welcoming all of our special guests. Do I see our City of Miami Beach Mayor Minor with us today?
Hello, great to be here.
Hi, Mayor. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
He promised us that he would be here at every meeting. And
I did. 2 for 2 so far.
And he has been at every meeting of the MBNA way before he even dreamed of being a mayor. So thank you.
Absolutely.
We love you.
Hold me to it.
I will. You know that.
And I do see that we have several aides with us as well. Monica, Commissioner Alex Fernandez's aide, are you with us today?
Hi, everybody. I'm here. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much for joining. And I know some of us, well, Dr. Levin Brown was able to attend meeting Captain Shannon Madison in person. And we're sorry we weren't able to do that this time. We're looking forward to welcoming you, giving you a warm welcome to our in-person April 10th annual meeting. Save the date. It will be Wednesday, April 10th. And if you'd like to just say a few words, we're sorry we missed you and Officer Hawsey this past Monday. How was the event?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It was an excellent event. I felt very warmed. I was able to communicate very well with the public, and it's a great start. I look forward to doing great things with you guys.
Thank you so much, Captain Madison. We're excited about your leadership, and we look forward to collaborating with you on items in the near future. So we're going to move, or actually, Dr. Levin-Brown, did you want to mention your perspective as a resident of a condominium, how it was to meet Captain Madison?
Yes, let me put on my video for the moment.
Great to see you.
Okay, you can see me. Okay, so it was a very, very nicely attended. There were probably 25, 30, 40 residents that were there of MidBeach, and probably almost as many police officers. There were many, many police. Captain Madison gave us an overview of the workings of the Miami Beach Police Department, the administrative heads, the heads of each of the areas, gave us an overview of the MidBeach, what's called Area 2. Area 1 is South Beach, Area 3 is North Beach, and gave us some insight into the crime statistics of last year versus this year, whatever's going on. So all in all, I think it was a very helpful exchange. There was a question and answer period, and we look forward to Captain Madison's leadership in the meeting with us.
Thank you so much for that update. And we also have Danny Reyes, the Commissioner Eileen Higgins, our County Commissioner from District 5. Parade was with us today. Danny?
Hi, folks. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here with you all.
Thank you. And also I see an aide for, do we have Marina or Kai with us from Senator Chevron Jones's office?
Hi, good afternoon, or good evening, sorry. How are you guys doing?
Oh, it's great to see you. Are you the legislative aide that assists with the newsletters that we all get with updates of what's going on right now in session? I believe the senator right now is in committee. He mentioned that he may not be able to join us until later.
Yes, the committee was supposed to end at 6 and it just got extended by President Pasadomo, so I got it over here on the TV. And yes, the newsletter, we're finishing that up right now. It should be out tomorrow morning. We were doing some revisions today.
So the newsletter is fantastic. If anybody, it's probably one of the best I've ever seen. If you want to get a kind of a day-to-day or real feeling of what's going on now in Tallahassee, Kai, who can they email to get on that? I don't even know how I got on the mailing, but I'm really excited that I am on the mailing. How does someone get on the mailing if they wanted to?
Yeah, of course. I will get the link to sign up to our MailChimp, and I'll drop that in the chat now for anyone who's looking to join.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that I might have missed? Okay. So our first item for business today is going to be the Florida Department of Transportation and other items under the Collins North Working Group, which is a working group that goes from 41st Street to 63rd Street, and Elisa Casanova will facilitate.
Okay, if you can make me co-host so I can share the screen in a minute, that would be great.
You are co-host. Could you try, please, and let me know if you have any
I can share it. Okay, I can share. Okay, good. So I'm going to, we had a very quick meeting just a short while ago with Colin Johnson, FDOT Project Manager, Andres Diaz, Senior Project Administrator, and Melissa Rodriguez, a Senior Community Outreach Specialist. And Melissa is here with us today. I believe Andres is here too, or yes, he is. So Melissa would like to say a few words. We're going to leave the big presentation for our March meeting, but she's going to update us now. The other thing I want everybody to know is that we have arranged with the FDOT to give us every piece of information that they possibly have so that we can post it on our website. We've created a website link, and it's the FDOT project page, which I'm going to share right now with all of you. I believe it's on there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And this project page, if you go up here to the top, it's, you know, of the midbeach.net website. you can see everything that's happening. In this page, on this page is Melissa's information, and she's the one that's going to be coordinating with us. We will be the liaisons with the community and with the FDOT in trying to make this project as smooth as possible. We know it's not going to be easy, but if we communicate and plan ahead, I think we can make it less painful than the project that we all had to endure from 58th to 63rd. So this is her presentation here. It's on the website. And then as she is about to tell you, she will give you more details in the months and weeks ahead. So Melissa, you've got this.
Hi, thank you. So just kind of to go over that again, thank you for taking the time to let us speak. This is going to be a very quick update. I apologize, I couldn't get my camera working, so I'm glad you have my contact information up on the screen. That right there you see is my direct contact information, so please jot it down. That is my email address as well. So I'm just going to provide a super quick update. And this update is really for the two FDOT roadway projects. And this project, it consists of two project limits. The very first one is going to be a roadway project, and that's from Collins Avenue from Northwest 26th Street to 44th Street. The second project is a lighting project, and that's going to be performing lighting upgrades along Collins Avenue, and that is from the 4900 block to the 5800 block. So these projects were intended to begin now in mid-February. However, if you've been out there, you can tell that the utility companies are still kind of performing that preliminary work. So there are still some things that need to be done. The staging area where we're going to be storing the construction equipment is also still being determined. There was a previous update. I know we spoke with the board, but the contractor will no longer be staging near Collins Avenue and 87th Street. Internally, the FDOT team is working to determine the new area, but we don't have that location confirmed just yet.
Melissa, can I interrupt you for a minute, please? We have Major Minor and Commissioner Fernandez's office on this call. As we explained to you earlier this evening, we had talked to the city about possibly allowing the staging to be on 45th, right next to the Eden Rock, at the MidBeach Park, as we call it, Indian Beach Park, which is a large sand staging area. We want this to go on record that we would like the staging to be close to the project so that you don't have to be moving and using our roadways to move vehicles. Major Minor, is that something that you would be willing to follow up on with FDOT? I hope he's still on. Yes, he's still on. Major Minor?
Alicia, he'll be with you in just 1 second.
Okay, so let's let Melissa finish.
Yeah, he just got a phone call and he's just addressing the phone call.
Okay.
Can you give me the question again so I
So
can?
the question is, we would like to advocate for the FDOT to coordinate with the city of Miami Beach to allow the staging area for this project to be by the Eden Rock, which is Collins and between 46th and 47th Streets. In the past, they've allowed it to happen. We would like that because that would prevent a lot of turmoil and moving of vehicles. And even if they're small construction vehicles, having to commute and use our roadways for that. So the staging could possibly be coordinated, and we don't know about the logistics. We're just advocating for something that makes sense to start. If we start the project with common sense and good communication and open lines, I think we're going to avoid a lot of headaches that we had to confront in the past. So if the city can work with FDOT on that, we would really appreciate that.
Understood. Thank you.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, so then just to reiterate again, for what you were saying, we have not confirmed the staging location. It's still up for debate. So that's something, we'll continue to have conversations with you as we move forward. But then in terms of work next week, really what you can anticipate is you're going to continue to see the utility companies continuing to work perform work out there. That's them doing the work to prepare kind of for us coming in. And then over the next couple weeks, what you will see is our FDOT contractor just may be on site performing survey work, doing some environmental protection work, but this is all minimal to the public. So you're not going to see anything crazy next week, you know, it's kind of like what we discussed before. And I just want to reiterate that we're coming back in March to your next MBA meeting. And at that time, we're going to have a full PowerPoint presentation and we'll go over the intended traffic plan. We'll go over the lane closure in detail. And at that time, we would have already had the confirmation, not only about the staging area, but we'll also be able to provide a more detailed schedule of work in terms of dates. So that being said, you know, I want to take the time to introduce myself to all the board members. I've met a couple of you already, to the community. I will be sending out advisories to not only MBNA, but to the community, as well as performing door-to-doors and project updates. All of this is going to take place prior to any lane closures or any major work. So if anything needs to be communicated, you guys will have that information before we close any lanes or perform any major work. Really, right now at this time, we encourage you to sign up for electronic websites. They've on site, you'll see here, which is the project page. On your left, there's an area here that says email updates. If you click on that, it's a direct sign-in form. And what it does is it just gives you an area to put in your name, your email address, and that just means you're signing up for our weekly electronic advisories. So when those go out, they'll be from me and they'll let you know what all the work is happening, when, the who, the where, the what, the why. Again, my name is Melissa Rodriguez. I'm the senior community outreach specialist for the project. My contact information can also be found, excuse me, directly on the project page. As you see, as she scrolls all the way to the bottom, it gives you a little more information about the project limits. And my email address is a direct link on the page. If you go all the way down, you'll see my name, Melissa at HML Public Outreach, and you can click on that and that email will go directly to me. You can ask any questions, any contact information, and from there we'll be able to loop in the project team and address any concerns. So again, I want to thank you for your time, and just as a reminder, we'll be back in March with a full presentation.
Melissa, I have a silly question.
Go ahead.
Why does it say Northwest 26th Street? What is Northwest 26th Street? I think that's a typo.
You know what? I'm looking at that and you are absolutely correct. That is a typo. That should not be there.
We had sent that. Yeah, we sent that in an initial email as well.
I think that it was updated on the main body, but not on the project page. So I'll go on there now and
this one, and it also this one also has it. The one you just gave me tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead there on the back end and just do the update myself. It's a title issue. So
when you give me the new one, I will update the new
re-upload. I apologize.
And I don't want to embarrass you, but I just wanted
I apologize. It's a sensitive website, so sometimes sometimes I want to make sure that changes. But you are absolutely right. The Northwest should not be in there.
Okay. Okay. So go ahead, Anna Marie.
Thank you, Alicia, and thank you, Melissa, for that update. Any questions anyone has, please place them in the chat and we'll go ahead and communicate them to Melissa, or you can reach out to her directly. You'll see the contact information is there. We did share our thoughts with FDOT about staging 40 blocks along the only road we have earlier today. We clearly communicated we thought it was a poor choice. I know Alicia was trying to speak with Mayor Minor a moment ago. We also communicated it from a community association standpoint. And it was with the intention to attempt to dismantle the inefficiencies that have been employed on the community by FDOT and subcontractors in recent years. Our members that are on today can probably clearly remember the horrific experience that we had last spring, the amount of traffic we had in Collins. And we were trying in May of 2023, when Secretary Miller came and co-hosted with Senator Chevron Jones and Commissioner Alex Fernandez, the hope was that there would be more forethought from District 6. And us as community members and associations understanding the magnitude and the type of projects and the duration of these projects and how long we're going to have to withstand that and how much it could impact our property values, sometimes our own economic security for some members, and just our quality of life and the reasons why we choose to live here in MidBeach and how serious we take that. So my interaction earlier today with Melissa, her team, and particularly with Colin Johnson, proved differently. And the ability, particularly with Mr. Johnson, to de-escalate a very well-rooted community concern was disappointing. And my hope is that the agency's leadership will be made aware of this incapacity and will revisit the issue with the goal of building a stronger relationship between the agency and its residents, and really a relationship that is mutually respectful, but that also is able to, that FDOT, similar to law enforcement come in contact with people who have been traumatized, who are in very difficult situations. And there is a fight or flight reaction when you mention the acronym FDOT, and rightfully so, for everyone who has spent numerous times either trying to bike, walk, cycle, or drive down Collins Avenue and get to 41st Street. So I really want to send a message that hearing someone say, I need to correct my tone because it's not acceptable to them, and the next time they won't put up with me, is not, I'm the president of MidBeach Neighborhood Association, and I do this as a volunteer, and I do this with my whole heart, and I do this with the best intentions. And when I communicate that I think you guys are making a very poor choice to stage 4 miles from where you're going to be operating when there's a perfectly well placed to stage on 46 and Collins, I would expect it to be, that makes sense, but we're having some difficulties. We can't sign that agreement right now, but we'll get back to you. The best words that you guys can use is we'll get back to you, and then get back to us. So I wanted to say that, again, I'm speaking off of the cuff, but that's the end of my comment, Alicia. Thank you for.
Okay. We just had a really bad experience, and so we're very concerned, but we'll work through this, and we'll work with the FDOT to make this project as smooth as we can possibly make it for everybody, so that we can plan ahead, but we understand. Okay, go ahead. What is next?
Alicia, do you have any other items in Collins North Working Group or the beach walk that you'd like to review before we go on? Next person up is Oscar Vasquez for beach and water quality.
Okay, so quickly on the beach walk, we are advocating for, and I just got very excited today when I saw that, I was going to say Commissioner Minor, Major Minor and Commissioner Fernandez are working on this, and that is a pathway east of the dunes. We've been wanting to do something like what Bal Harbor does, and that is to provide an alternative way of walking. Now, I don't know if Commissioner Minor, you're on, or you're on, you're live. Okay.
I'm here.
So the thing is that there's a little bit of a confusion. We were advocating for a pedestrian. We don't think that bicycles should go there, because then how do you cross from the beach walk to the beach if there's bicycles going on that pathway? But if we make it a solid, whether it's with that, I forgot the name of that carpet that they put outdoors, or just compacted sand, where the pedestrians can have an alternative way of going on the beach walk, mostly during busy times, that would be phenomenal. If that can, I know it takes a lot of jumping over loopholes. I read that today, how hard it's going to be to pull this off, but we are here to help with that. And if we can get that going, which means that if you're on the beach walk and it's busy and it's full of bicycles and who knows what else is out there, that we can go on east of the dunes and walk on a solid sand, compacted sand, or exterior rug. That would be phenomenal. Bicycles there, I don't think that would be a good idea, Stephen, because that's, you know, how that's complicated. But pedestrians, for sure. Let's leave the bicycles if they want to be on the beach walk, but let's give pedestrians an alternative to get out of the danger of our beautiful beach walk.
I like it. I mean, the point is just to keep people safe. So it's, I think what you're proposing is good. And actually, I want to kind of bring you into some of these meetings, because it's going to be a battle. We will do that. You know, personally, it's my pet peeve. I think it's so important. I think it's going to solve the problem. You know, I've been on this for 2 years, and the MidBeach Neighborhood Association has been totally in favor of advocating for this. So let us know, and
I'm sorry, can Can we go over that again, just because I want to make sure what we're advocating for?
Oh,
So you're saying here that it's going to be a battle to offer an alternative path, or it's going to be a
No,
battle?
the whole thing is a
whole
battle. Because
Yeah,
it requires
In what ways?
multiple
Economically, resources? I don't know why I'm not following.
bureaucracy, dealing with the state and involved. I mean, there's other agencies involved. We can't unilaterally make that decision. So that's
Yeah,
what
I
it
read
means.
that today in your in that was pretty amazing how complicated it's going to be. But hey, we got to try.
Gotta try.
We can do it. There's nothing we can't do.
So I apologize. It's going to be difficult because anything you do on state property on a beach is difficult.
Correct.
But it's not going to be difficult because you're getting different. I just want to make sure that we're united. I know that we've spoken with other neighborhood associations and they've discussed, and I've taken numerous videos and pictures, especially around 5:45, 6 in the morning along Collins Avenue of folks commuting who live and work, who live in North Beach, but work in South Beach, and they commute through MidBeach on Collins Avenue. And I can't wait till FDOT finishes that project and provides a safe passage for them, because I fear I can barely see these individuals. And I know I need glasses, but I can barely see these people while I'm driving. And I fear, with two hands on the wheel and looking forward, that if I was just a little bit distracted, it could be fatal. And so I'm wondering, providing this alternative path on the beach, if any other association or other residents have been against it.
I doubt it.
Well, I think I'm just thinking out loud, but I think one of the concerns could be would pedestrians, as opposed to bicycles, be displaced by doing something like this?
No, they can be in both.
Right.
It's alternative.
Sure.
Not instead of. If we put bicycles only out there, that's going to be an uproar. But the biggest issue is, how do you cross if you've got bicycles?
Sure.
You know, so this is what I'm reading. It was presented to Public Safety and Neighborhood Quality of Life Committee members, and it's discussed pedestrian and bicycle safety on the beach walk and any options for creating a bike path, which is now a pedestrian path, hopefully, on the hard packed sand to minimize the interaction between bicyclists and pedestrians on the beach walk. And this is item R9D, sponsored by Mayor Stephen Minor and Commissioner Alex Fernandez. So this is awesome to get it started. Let's just put pedestrians out there, optional. So it's too busy, it's too crowded. I want to be closer to the ocean. Get us out there. First of all, bicycles, it's a little bit harder for them to go out there. So this will work. This will take 50% of people closer to the ocean. And if you want to, you know, it's just an alternative.
I like it.
Great. Awesome. And thank you for putting it up there. I saw it today and I was jumping in happiness at his back. You're amazing.
Thank you. I'm happy it's back too.
Yes. Thank you. And as far as the signage, I believe they're going to continue with the signage. I have to get back to Laura, Commissioner Dominguez, because she, I forgot to tell her to join in today, but we got to continue the signage throughout the entire beach walk, which is to stay right, slow, and the line has to continue. So look, I see Commissioner Suarez is just joining in. I just let him in.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Maybe we can have her come on in March and present on that.
Let's do that.
So we're going to hold off on the Beach and Water Quality Working Group. Actually, we're going to start it off. And Oscar Vasquez, just to let you know, our chair, that Commissioner Suarez has also joined the meeting, and he has a couple of items that are within your committee. Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead, or you want Suarez?
If you want to go ahead and introduce your committee, let them know when your next working group meeting is and an update on the items.
Yeah, really brief. Yeah, the next and first of this year's committee meeting is this month on the 21st at 4 p.m. And we're going to talk about anticipations we have for this year's beach and water quality group activity, which largely revolves around sargassum and making sure we're ready to handle any potential influx. Encourage everybody to participate, as well as everybody know that we did communicate with the city and the county stakeholders in this area to answer a few questions that we have that are critical in understanding our relationship with the beach raker and how they're managing our current contract and some things that we want to do different. So please, February 21st, 4 p.m.
We have, sorry, Oscar, to interrupt. Did you get a response on that? Or I know you made the
We have
request,
not,
but
we have not gotten a response yet, no.
who is it city or county that we're waiting on?
Actually, both on the John Ripple side as well as on the county
Is
side.
John
A
Ripple still
couple
with the city? Is Mr. John Ripple still with the city? I think I believe last year or the year before he said he was going to be resigning soon.
Yeah, last
Is
I
Gabriela
talked
on
to
the
him, he
call
was.
or somebody?
Hey there,
Yes.
it's Kevin Polito, Neighborhood Affairs Director at City of Miami Beach. Yeah, John is still with the city. So yeah, he's still with us.
Yeah, so Kevin,
Thanks,
maybe
Kevin.
you can
Do
follow
you
up.
think you could do us a favor?
Sorry,
And then
not a bit.
Danny Reyes, if you could follow up,
See
please,
if we
Kevin.
can get we did copy you on that memo with the concerns that we have, and hopefully we can have somebody on the meeting of the 21st talking to some of those items. And then last year also, the Beach and Water Quality Group played a big part in contributing recommendations for the rewrite of the concession manual, which, as some of you know, governs the rules and regulations revolving around concessionaires on the beach. And we were very happy with the changes and the updates, but we're not quite sure whether those revisions have already been approved by the commission, and at least I have not seen them go through there, and we'd like to get an update on that.
Yes, sir. Yep, I will. I'll check in with our facilities team and get you an update on that process, and then also make sure that we participate in the upcoming Beach and Water Quality meeting.
Thank you, Kevin.
Oscar, just to let you know, sorry, Daniel Reyes from Commissioner Higgins' office is also on, and he's communicated that he'll assist, I believe. Daniel?
Hi, folks. Yeah, I'll follow up on the county side to getting a response and having people at the Beach and Water Quality meeting.
Thank you, and thank you, Anna Marie. Back to you.
Oh, thank you, Oscar. Actually, one more question for Danny. We also reached out in terms of sargassum before the season picks up. And I think that that's part of this vendorship information. We also emailed Oscar, emailed a group, and then I emailed Mr. Morales, Jimmy Morales directly. We haven't, as of yesterday afternoon, we haven't received a response. I don't know, I don't believe we received one today, but I haven't checked earlier today. But just to let you know, so it's it's combined. It's not only the vendor and the bid, but it's also just kind of sargassum in general. We have some questions that were left up in the air, and I know that you all have done some bidding yourselves and you looked out for different alternative ways to use it, et cetera. Just getting an update on that process would be really helpful, not just the vendorship, but also what is the county doing proactively, since the mayor had said that she was going to be active in this. And I know Commissioner Higgins has been helping us since her first day in office.
Okay, will do. Yeah, the county did put an RFQ for vendors to figure out ways that we can actually use the sargassum, instead of just dumping it or folding it back into the sand. So I will definitely follow up and see where that's at.
Thank you. And Commissioner Suarez, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your willingness to be here. There's a couple of items that you've been really leading that impact MidBeach directly. One are the charter boats, and the other is the 63rd Street Bridge. We wanted to see if you could provide us an update with those two items.
Hi, thanks for having me on, Anna Maria. We passed first reading on the 9 p.m. closure for citywide private and public marinas charter operations. So it has one more reading to go, which is on the 21st. It passed unanimously, 7-0. I don't really foresee this having a problem at the second reading. However, if you guys can get your constituents involved and send some support emails, that would be excellent. So that's sort of one of my prong approach to tackling the sort of chaos in MidBeach along the waterways. The other item, and by the way, I mean, you know, just some feedback. How do you guys like that?
How do we like the charters?
We
that
are
what you asked?
showing on screen.
Or how do we like, or how do we like your what you're proposing?
Is he there?
Hi, Commissioner Suarez, we've lost your audio. So if you do have comments, if
Sorry.
you do have, okay,
I wanted to know, you know, what are your thoughts on it? Because my position is Indian Creek waterway is just not compatible for charter operations. It's not big enough. It was never meant to be what it is now. And the amount of traffic that it generates on the 63rd Street Bridge is impactful for not only MidBeach, but all of Miami Beach, because it's in the middle of the beach, and then that bridge keeps on going up every 30 minutes as a result of this charter operations. I actually have someone in one of the buildings putting a GoPro and having a time lapse and showing how many times that bridge opens up and for who. And you know, 99% of the time it's these charter operations. So my position has been that it's not compatible for the residential area anymore in MidBeach.
And here you can see on the website, you'll see the videos showing the different openings, and exactly what you're talking about is demonstrated on videos that are online. How long it takes for the bridge to open and close while traffic is completely congested and stuck. Meanwhile, you can also hear on these videos a horn blowing extremely loud, disturbing all the residents in the area. So this is something we're really working on as well.
Susana Santoro, oh, sorry to interrupt. Susana Santoro just placed a picture in a chat in our chat, and I want to make sure. So this is, you're talking about the picture here is an aerial going onto the bridge. Is that correct, Susana?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
it's where there is that island for pedestrians, I guess, but that block, because only one lane can turn, it causes it's a nightmare. If you go out at a certain time, which I'm sure it happened to all of us, it causes a tremendous congestion just because only one lane can turn.
Thank you for that
Question on the phone?
Go ahead, Steve.
Yes, hi, Anna Marie, and thank you for this presentation. I just have a question. I'm a little bit uncertain about the issue as it might relate to the boat rental operation that has been at 23rd and Collins for a long time, and it is that causing any of this issue, and is that operation a target for what is being proposed?
The second reading that's coming up is citywide. So anything after 9 p.m. There would be no other than I think a ferry service. There would be no operations. And so by the way, they did that in Miami Beach Marina, south of 5th, because of all the charter operation issues that they've had, and it has been a success story. It has changed it night and day in the neighborhood.
Thank you, Commissioner. My question just is, other than the 9 p.m., is there any plan to try and stop the existing boat rental that's at 23rd and Collins from this
No, so I have an additional piece of legislation that has to go through Land Use Committee, which I sit on, and that is going to target 41st Street to 63rd Street.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And if they're 23rd, I think if you can get under the bridges to be able to get to 63rd, I mean, they would never go through 63rd, right? You would go through the back canals like the other waterway, correct? So it's not, I think also in this area in particular, it's the raising of the bridge for the charters.
So yeah, thank you, Anne Maria. The boats at 23rd and Collins are like these 24-foot, 27-foot sea rays,
Right. Well, sea rays at 40 would need the bridge raised. And so I don't know what sea raise height is at 20 something, but if it's like a 40-footer, then it would need to be raised at 63rd. So, but it sounds like someone on the chat just said that the boats at 63rd don't usually need to be raised. But if they do, if they need to be raised at 63rd, they probably can't get under 41st. And so they won't be going this way. That's just my assumption, and I may be wrong, but just looking at the height at 41st Street Bridge and compared to 63rd, I think you'd have to be raised at 63rd. You can't get through 41st if you're going to have to be raised at 63rd.
I think the issue is that between 41st Street and 63rd Street it is so out of control, and it is so hard to enforce because just due to the nature of how many boats there are. It's complete mayhem. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen like that houseboat that's now on 41st Street that's just parked out there. That's an Airbnb boat. And there's really
our issue with that one, Commissioner,
we've seen it,
is how it disposes its waste. So we had something very similar in a boat like that before last year during Art Basel, and they disposed their waste into our Indian Creek waterway. There was no taking that boat out 2 miles or whatever the process is to do. So that was my only concern when they have those living facilities. Isn't there something that the city could do to enforce and to confirm where they're disposing their waste?
No,
so it's
unfortunately not.
Or you can smell the manure or whatever the waste.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are preempted by state law. We don't, unless we have a mooring field and an anchoring limitation area set up, which is done by the county. There's no way to enforce pump outs, disposal of black water or gray water tanks. And so, I've been trying to, I've been trying to get,
I don't want to lose your thought though. Sorry to interrupt. You said that there's possibly a mechanism, but it lays in the county, correct?
Yeah. And so I've been trying to get a hold of Eileen Higgins, and I believe Daniel's on the phone, and set up a one-on-one meeting, but I have not had an opportunity to, unfortunately. But
Danny, Danny can make that happen tomorrow. Danny, right? You work magic. Make that happen tomorrow, can't you?
She's in Tallahassee right now and will be having surgery and not available for a month. So yes, this can happen, but
yeah, and look, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Daniel. It's not your fault, but I asked 2 weeks ago for a meeting, and we're here where we are today. And so, but look, that's unfortunately that's not necessarily the county's fault either. It's really the state that kind of gave the enforcement aspect to the county. But now the city has to work with the county, and obviously that is cumbersome in and of itself. It's so. That being said, what we can control from a city perspective is the business, and in my opinion, the business operations from 41st Street to 63rd Street it has sort of outgrown itself, and it's not it's not conducive to the residential waterway of MidBeach. And so my position is that we have to sunset that industry.
Thank you, Commissioner
So
Suarez.
are you also, quick question, Annie, are you also referring to like Biscayne Lady? Because their operation always seems so clean. Like They pick up in front of the Fontainebleau. I'm sure they generate a lot of money for the city. So that's like,
Yeah, listen, again, this is a discussion, that we're gonna have on the dais, and this is a discussion that you have to have. It's going to be almost impossible to carve out who the good operators are without getting legally challenged. And do you want to have the status quo, or do you want to have no boats out there doing charter operations? And so, yeah, I mean, look, I know we have the Biscayne Lady, they do charter operations in a well-mannered form, but unfortunately, it's almost impossible to enforce any sort of code on Indian Creek. I mean, think about it. You're going from 41st Street to 63rd, and you can't have like 10 code officers there at all times. So,
Understood.
if there is a sunset period of these charter operations, it's easily, you have a clear framework for enforcement. You see a boat coming, picking up people, that's a violation.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Suarez, for your diligent, really leadership in addressing this in such a short.
Yeah, look, I
tenure
have
that
I have a very bold approach to things, and so we're at where we are, unfortunately, because no one has taken a bold position on some of these matters, and so
we've had some bold leaders. Let's I mean,
I'm talking at the commission level.
No, I do. I get it, and I appreciate your perspective. Thanks again for being with us today.
So the tough one is the complicated one because there's residents that have boats as well, and so but we support, as it's posted there. We definitely support what you're trying to achieve. Hopefully, it can be done in a fair manner that doesn't entail too much.
Wanted to make one last comment about this because it's in the chat. One of our residents asked, why can't the city make a designated pickup spot just north of 63rd Street? So we know that we have that like a little park, and then past the rowing club, there's like another little space just past 63rd Street so that the bridge doesn't have to be raised. That was an idea that was brought up. I know that, getting docks and getting permits to put docks, et cetera, it might be a long-term plan, but we were just wondering if maybe facilities could assess.
Well, you couldn't enforce that. I mean, you couldn't say that you need to pick up at this dock, because then you're still stuck with the problem of these boats docking between 41st Street and 63rd Street. And then the bridge goes up, right? Because they're passing through the bridge, because that's where they dock to pick up. And so I don't see that as a
I think they were saying like a pickup area, like preventing charters lower, but again, that would be getting into like the business of who can have a business, who can't, and we don't really want to go there.
Right, but and just so everyone is aware, right now, the only charter operations that you are allowed is through either the Eden Rock, the Fontainebleau, or the Miami Beach Resort. And as the law is currently written, it has to be only hotel guests. And so I can guarantee you right now that if you go on Google and you look up charter operations, you can look up a vendor on the Indian Creek Waterway, and they're not going to check to see if you're a hotel resident or a hotel visitor at either of those 3 locations.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. We're going to move on to our other working groups. There has been an update. We have a couple of working groups left. We have Indian Creek Drive, and we also have the public space working group for today. So the Indian Creek Drive is landscaping, and I have Randy Hollingworth and Esteban Porcelli. I know that there's going to be a site visit tomorrow internally with members, and then a site visit with the city next week, Monday at 4 p.m., I believe. Would either of our co-chairs like to give an update on the landscaping portion?
Randy's on, right? Randy?
The MBNA received
sorry.
a response.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Esteban, do you want me to just say something or?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Well, it seems like for the most part, the plant material has been installed along Indian Creek. Per the plans that the city has said that they would move forward with after we met with them, and they did not want to make any more changes. So they've gone ahead and planted the trees. I don't know for sure that every tree has been planted. A large majority of the work is completed. They haven't mulched. I assume they're going to mulch all the beds, but everything's being watered. We are continuing to have the same concerns we've had for the past 4 months, that the plant material is extremely dense. There are plants that should have been not planted where they were, and the density of the tree canopy is certainly going to block views for residents living on Indian Creek facing west, which was always an open water view. That's going to change. So we are meeting to look over all the different areas that we're concerned about. It isn't every single area. There are places where there's just a few palm trees. It's perfectly fine. But as you can see on the screen, there are plant material areas that this is brand new planting. You won't be able to even use the sidewalk that was built for us to use along the waterway in no time. I live on.
We're walking from.
This is walking along after the planting went in on the sidewalk. So I guess that would be what, up at 35th or 30. I'm not sure what block that is at, Alicia, that you were walking on. The walkway is already being actually well used. The number of people we see walking on it every day is quite surprising, since it was never there before. And people seem to be enjoying it with strollers and people sitting on the wall with having lunch on the seawall. We have noticed that there have been numerous cases of people sitting there that probably shouldn't be sitting there. They're sort of hiding behind trees. I've tried to take pictures, but it's difficult. We do have the one lot south of the bridge, the footbridge, that has been fenced in, and so that's been a sort of a thorn in the whole process of getting this a continuous walkway as long as we can. Hopefully that can be resolved. I believe that's a city issue that they're working on, trying to get the walkway in the area here that you see is fenced in now by the property owner on the other side of Indian Creek. Really unfortunate that the walkway couldn't be continued through.
Thank you, Randy, for those observations and very detailed update. And Alicia, your videos are fantastic. I think it really gives people a tangible sense of what's going on the project. From a good perspective, because you know that we're trying, there's an attempt to get that walkway, and also from a concerning perspective that the current landscape, it looks like it's already overgrowing in the walkway, and we can only imagine what the canopy will be. MBNA stance hasn't changed. We've been trying to advocate for the properties that had every right to the water view, since they were the ones that eased and deeded their properties to the city for this public use, and we feel that the city should really be respectful and remediate areas in which they are blocking the water view from the properties that were so generous to ease. When you don't have properties that want to ease and deed because they may be jaded from the city, you get big black fences in your community, and we don't want that. We want to build trust. We want to build a relationship that allows us to work together. But you can't build huge canopies that block our water view and, hurt our quality of life or our property values and expect us to be happy with that. So that is a great update. Again, if you're interested in participating in those walkthroughs, email us, call us, text us, put it in the chat, and we'll send you the invite. Another item in this area,
Ana Maria,
Randy.
Ana Maria? Yes. I want to ask the city about the additional amenities such as lighting and security cameras, if are being considered to the project. I don't know if the city can ask. It's a
Mr.
very safety issue.
Mr. Knowles, can you address the safety issue that's being asked about the amenities of security cameras being installed?
Good afternoon, Rodney Knowles, Assistant Director for the Public Works Department. Security cameras were not conceived as part of this project and not in there. It's a landscape and irrigation project.
What about the lighting?
The bollard lighting is an ad alternate. All of the infrastructure for the bollard lighting is already installed, and future funding will, as soon as that's identified, bollard lighting can go in then. But we have everything we need in order to execute that portion of the project.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
The Jersey barrier has been an item that has come up in several of our meetings. Is there any update on the Jersey barrier? On improving the Jersey barrier in this area?
The treatment for the Jersey barrier is going to be the installation of creeping fig that's going to grow along the face of that and trim nice and neat so that it's a green vegetated surface.
So it's
That's
going to be
great.
planted on the other side, is what he's saying? It's going to be planted on the other side, and you're expecting it to creep through?
It's going to creep through. That's what Ficus repens does. It actually crawls up surfaces and it will form a really nice green appearance on a hardscape surface.
What is the timeline of that, Mr. Knowles?
The creeping fig is installed as part of this landscape project. It's a shrub.
So it's already been installed along the Jersey barrier? Maybe it just hasn't grown?
It's going to grow in and then creep over time.
2 years.
But it has already been planted?
Pardon me?
One moment, Elisa. Has it already been planted?
I don't think that particular shrub has been planted yet. The material isn't all in. The project is incomplete.
Okay, and what's the timeline?
We're hoping to have substantial completion by the end of March.
Okay, thank you. Then the other item is in this committee is for Mr. Gonzalez. I believe Jose Gonzalez, Director of Transportation, was going to be with us today. I see O'Neill. O'Neill, are you providing the update?
I would be providing the update on behalf of Mr. Gonzalez, yes.
Thank you. Although we do like Mr. Gonzalez, he is a MidBeach resident. So we kind of, I mean, are you a MidBeach resident?
I'm not, but I feel like I live in the city more than I do at home. So I'm always here.
Well, that's good. Come out and walk with us. Actually, you know what? Why don't you bike along Indian Creek from 41st to 25th, and you will feel the necessity that all of us feel in this community to get those CEQLAs installed. What is going on with those?
Actually, we have Mina on the line. That project has been handled by our CIP department. I briefly spoke with her earlier today, and she has an update for you guys on the CEQLAs on the bike lane.
Great. Hi, Mina.
Hi, Mina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present the status of the CEQLAs. We are done with the design, and we have preliminary approval from DOT. We had to put a little pause on it because of the some work, the asphalt repairs that we had to do on Indian Creek and also the seawall. So all of that is complete. We are currently trying to figure out contracting for this project. We have a couple of contractors in mind. We have continuous services with them. We have to go through the procurement process, excuse me, and see which one we have to select. So within the next few months, I assume that you're going to be able to select the contractor, complete the design, and get the final approval from DOT and start construction, hopefully sometimes maybe in June or July of this year.
So you'll be sharing options with us, Mina?
No. The CEQLAs were already selected. There's one option. But the CEQLAs were already
the CEQLA. The option was the CEQLAs, and we can share the plans with you. We can put it on the website as well, if you haven't seen it. But yes, It's the Zikla design.
Okay.
Mina, could you I know that we've met many times, but could you introduce yourself for the rest of the members?
Sure. My name is Mina Samadi, and I'm a senior project manager with the Office of Capital Improvement Project of City of Miami Beach.
And you have also been on this project for a very long time, if not the inception.
Well, that was the roadway construction project that was completed, I want to say, a year and a half ago. And now we're doing the Zikla bicycle protection system.
So Mina, this is on the website, which obviously says it was supposed to start in now, actually, by coincidence. Is this what we're talking about, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Mina, just please, as we mentioned earlier, I can send you the videos of people biking, walking, scootering. Since electric bicycles and scooters are now being enforced not to be on the beach walk, and there's so much congestion on the beach walk, we're seeing an uptick on Collins Avenue and Indian Creek, and it is frightening. Please, 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 and a year and a half after roadway completion to start putting in protection for those cyclists is concerning. As soon as anything is procurement, or just, if there's a stat like they do in medical offices on procurement, like if you could let them know that, please hurry this up, because we need to get this done.
Sure,
Anna Marie?
absolutely.
Anna Marie?
Yes, Randy.
Could I ask a question? Is the bike path on Indian Creek going to be painted the green color or no?
Yes.
Oh, it will be. Great. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
Good. That's good.
Anna Maria,
Is that, Mina, are we, one second, Stefan. Mina, are we sure about that, even though there's no intersections? Because we had heard that FDOT was only painting green where there was like an intersection. And
I
if we
believe
don't have intersections,
I believe we have approval from them, but I will have to double check that. You're correct. They did say something about intersections and those locations, but I think we are painting this green. But I will have to check and get back to you.
We would prefer for it to be green, and we would really do anything for it to be green, and just have a nice facility as soon as possible. Esteban, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, something else to find for the project is the bus stop shelter. The new bus
but
stop.
that is not yes, but that's not Mina. We're going to move on to that item next.
No, Mina, maybe Jose.
Yeah, exactly. Or Neil. Thank you, Mina, for being with us today. And I apologize, I didn't realize you were there, and this is the item, the only item that you were waiting for.
Sure.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
O'Neill, can we go back to you about bus shelters?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
So the update on the bus shelters. So right now, we underwent a preliminary review with our building department. From a structural perspective, we wanted to make sure that the design that our consultant had come up with and was structurally sufficient, and it met all the requirements from the Florida Building Code. We underwent that review. They had several rounds of comments. During that review, we addressed those comments, and we had to slightly modify the design, very minimum, perhaps making the columns slightly bigger because of the wind requirements that we needed to design it with. But the good news is that right now we're already manufacturing the prototype that we're going to be installing very quickly in about 8 to 10 weeks. That's the lead time that we have from the manufacturer.
Sorry to interrupt, O'Neill, just so I can follow. This prototype is the same one that's right now on Lincoln Road. Did you see that email I had sent to Mr. Gonzalez?
There's no prototype on site at the moment.
Okay. And so
Road,
do we have a rendering on our website? Because I don't know that we have one. Do we?
We do not have that. As I said, since we have to make some slight modifications, we have not been able to share that with everyone. There's an LTC that we're working on to inform our elected officials of what is going to be going on, what is the final design, what it finally looks like, and then once that LTC goes out, we'll be more than happy to share that with you and Maria.
Just so I understand, there was no community input on the final design before it was selected, correct?
Well, the design went through the design review board. It also went through the historic preservation board. We received.
And so those records those records, could we have so the record?
Those records could definitely be shared with you, yes.
Right, could be shared with us, and then they made comments and you made modifications to it, or what you presented to them was pretty much the prototype?
There was a design that was presented to them, and the direction that we received, and it went back to commission. The direction that we received was to design something based on a vision that was approved by the commission and also by DRB and HPB. And the design that we currently have is very much similar to what was approved by the commission, with some slight modifications, making sure that it was a cost-effective design that is from that standpoint. So that's the stage that we're at right now. So the design that everyone saw at HPB and DRB, that nice sleekness on the roof, the nice slim approach is still there. Now what we're going for right now is we're going through the permitting phase, and in order to get it permitted, we have to make some very minor modifications. Once we share that with our elected officials, we'll be more than happy to. But in the meantime, I'll make sure that you guys get all how we got into where we are right now, which would give you guys more or less of an idea of what these bus shelters look like.
O'Neill,
Yeah, it's hard for.
Can I make a comment on it real quick? I had taken the bus shelters off because I was waiting for the new one to post them. But the only comment I had, yes, it looks sleek, it looks beautiful, but I personally, and I haven't shared this with my my board here, thought that the roof, I guess you call it the roof, was extremely narrow. One of the purposes of bus shelters is to cover the sun and the rain. So people that are out there, rain starts and you have a place to hide. And if I remember correctly, it went something like this, and maybe it was 5 feet wide. And I thought, what? That's not really going to help much to avoid sun and rain. Is that something that is possible? It can be the size, the width of it. Is that too late for that? Because we really haven't been provided any opportunity to provide our input.
So that's a very good point, Alicia. So the purpose, the next step where we are right now is to build a prototype and have it on site and see how that prototype behaves in our weather conditions, with the rain, with the sun. Based on how that prototype behaves, then we could assess if there's any modifications that will be required to the design. So until we have that prototype in the field, we wouldn't be able to really make that determination as of right now. But that is the purpose of having a prototype first before we start the mass production.
How long will the prototype be? How long will the prototype be tested?
The time frame, for me, it's hard to say at the moment. It would have to be a time frame that will make the city feel comfortable that this has withstanded, that we can make a decision that this is the best prototype, or the design, the dimensions, like at least I mentioned, are adequate. So it could go from anything from 30 days to 60 days. That's something that we would have to discuss further internally. But it will not be a short period of time. We're not just going to install a prototype and see how it works for a week or two, and then right after that start mass production. We'll make sure that we have the proper information to feel comfortable to move forward with mass production.
One more quick question. So the plan is to start on Indian Creek and then go citywide? Is funding already allocated for these bus shelters throughout the city?
So this is a no cost to the city. So the city is not putting any direct funding into the construction of the bus shelters. It's a revenue share contract. So from the short answer to that is yes, we're ready to start construction from that point, from the funding perspective. However, the approach the city is going to take in installing these bus shelters is that we're going to start at the locations where we currently don't have a bus shelter. Those will be the locations that would be first, and then we'll proceed with the locations in which we would replace a bus shelter for another bus shelter.
Because the current condition of bus shelters everywhere, I just saw one nearby, and they're really in bad condition. They need to be replaced and modernized. It's a big statement to our city when we have these abandoned shelters. So hopefully that can move quickly. Okay.
And we agree with you, and Jose has made it a priority for our department to make sure that we stay on track. And we keep pushing our consultant to do that as well.
Thank you. Miami Beach Drive, I can share.
Yeah, we're going to move on to public space in a moment, but for Indian Creek, are there any other comments or items, Esteban and Randy?
Anna Marie, I propose to put the prototype bus shelter in 40th Street and Indian Creek Drive. The place is.
Selected. O'Neill, have you already selected your site? Because we have great needs in MidBeach for good bus.
The site has not been finalized as of right now. We have 2 locations right now in which we're considering, one of those being the location that Mr. Porcelli suggested. With that particular location, we do have a concern with the current work that is the tree planting that was just being discussed right now. That may not be the most optimal location for a prototype at the moment, but nonetheless, we'll continue to discuss that internally, and we'll make sure to find the best location for the prototype to make sure that we could get the most information out of it to make a decision. But it has not been finalized at the moment.
It feels like nothing's been finalized. Like we're just waiting here. Like we don't have any.
No, we're not just waiting. We've been able to narrow it down to 2 locations.
Okay. Well, we'll let our residents know. We did get those angry text messages that I forwarded along that said we're transit riders and we don't know what this bus stop's going to look like. So thank you for considering that. We hope to have those prototypes up. Randy, any final questions or comments for your committee before we move on to public space?
No. The only thing, we are preparing the graphics now to illustrate the new planting plan, which is so much easier to illustrate since all the trees are planted. There's no guessing anymore as to where the trees are, how far apart. Actually, the heights are even taller than we expected at new growth. So we'll have new graphics to illustrate to the city the impact of the landscaping. Thank you.
Thank you. And I didn't mention that earlier. I apologize. So thank you for the reminder. And we look forward to having that up on our website soon and shortly. So, okay, moving on to public space. Deborah Lake, our public space chair, is still with us. We have 2 items under your committee, the dog park, which Kevin Pulido will give an update, and Miami Beach Drive, which we had an update earlier from Director Gomez, and I believe Rodney was on a moment ago. I don't know if he's still on, Mr. Knowles. Yes, he looks like he's still on. Hopefully, maybe he can shine some light on that as well. Sergeant Isidro. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we go to public space, Kai from Senator Chevron Jones had put the newsletter on our chat that went through all of the items, and he was going to give us a quick update. Kai Gurel.
Hi, good evening. Just to give a quick update on session so far. So we finally hit the halfway mark. Session began on January 9th and we wrap up on March 8th. Currently we're in week 4, middle of week 4, so almost done. And I just want to give you guys a quick update of kind of what's going on here in Tallahassee. So for this year, we submitted 84 LFIR appropriation projects, which amounted to about 87 million on behalf of District 34. We're getting ready to head into the conference period, which begins next week, where we kind of match up our budget and the House budget and look for a way to come together. The last time I heard, there was about an $8 billion discrepancy between the two. So next week is going to be hands-on for the entire office, but the entire legislature as a whole to kind of get to that same number. The budget for the state this year is over $100 million. I believe it was 113 if I'm not mistaken. And that is a little less than normal, but it's because President Pasadomo has allotted a decent chunk of what we would have had to our reserves, just to make sure that moving forward, we're all squared away. I want to touch on a couple of bills that our office has filed and some that are moving and not moving. So SB 106 is acceptance of cash payments by businesses. We were running that with Representative Rudman in the House. It made it through its first 2 committee stops, but it looks like we're at a halt because there's no movement on the House side, so it doesn't look like it's going to make it across the finish line. Another bill that we have up that is making some movement is SB 104, so that is municipal water and sewer utility rates. And essentially that is to ensure that if you have a water treatment facility located in one district that's operated by another municipality, they're not allowed to charge that district where the water plant is sitting or sewer plant is sitting with the 25% surcharge or up to the 25% surcharge that it currently allows by Florida statute. What it would ensure is that whatever the operating facility, or sorry, the operating municipality who oversees the facility is charging the residents, they're charging that other municipality as well for them having the actual facility in their district. It's a little complicated of a bill, but it's much needed. We've been seeing some issues, not only in our district with that, but also across the state of Florida. And we've heard from other senators within committee that this has been an issue. Another one that we have is 858. So that is license plates. It's a license plate bill, specialty license plates bill. And this one is particularly important to our district because it would create 2 new license plates. So the first is the Recycle Florida license plate, and the second is the Boating Capital of the World license plate. So with the Recycle Florida license plate, it would benefit, add benefit, sorry, to education and encourage more programs for recycling around the state of Florida. And then the Boating Capital of the World license plate will go towards promoting professional development, job placement, and apprenticeship within the boating field. As you all know, Florida is a hub for boating and being on the water. So it's important that we kind of are letting people know about the job spaces that are out there. This bill is being ran in conjunction with Rep. Skidmore, but Captain Sandy from, I believe, and I'm not too versed on this, but she has a show on Bravo. I believe it's Below Deck or Above Deck or something along that nature. And she's kind of working alongside us with this as well. So she came up here to Tallahassee, got to meet with the senator, got to meet with Rep. Skidmore. We did a press conference. And she gave us a lot of knowledge about the boating capital of the world, which is Miami, and how even welders working on a shipyard make more money than they do working outside of one, right? So it's just letting people know about the opportunities that are here in the city of Miami. Another bill that we have that just came out of committee yesterday was 862. So that's a public records exemption for county administrators and city managers. Just so that way themselves and their personal information, so where they live, as well as the information on their spouses, where they work, as well as their kids' daycares, are kind of kept under wraps, and that way that they can be protected. So far, it looks like we'll be able to get 2 of those bills across the finish line, being SB 104, which is the municipal water and utility rates, as well as 858 with the specialty license plates. So we're super excited about that. And then we're also excited about getting some money across the finish line for our district. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Like I had stated before, we had filed about 84 appropriations, and currently we have 24 of those that are moving in the budget. That's not to say that's what we're going to end with, because conference period is when we're going to go back and forth with the House and kind of get to that number. But also at the end, they have what's called referred to as sprinkle money. So that money can be is a separate pot and can be given to other projects that are still kept alive, which we've been doing on our side. So it's looking like another successful legislative session for us, and we're just excited to get to that March 8th deadline and kind of bring all this home to the district.
Thank you so much. It was an excellent update. And again, I encourage everyone, if you do not receive Senator Chevron Jones's legislative update, you should. So please do register for it. It's in the chat, it's in the link. Kai, can you go over for me a little bit about a perspective? So this is the first time we've heard this. So what's the perspective? You mentioned about 20 something out of 80 something. What normally goes through at the end? How does that compare to last year? And then similar with sprinkle money, does it have to be an item that's already one of those 80 something items that's going through? Or is that an opportunity for special projects to come up? Or how does that work? So both of those, one, comparison for last year to give us a point of reference. And then second, how does that sprinkle money work?
Yeah, so to start with the first, with the comparison, last year, was the final year that we received federal dollars for COVID money. So that automatically made the budget less. And then essentially with this year as well, with President Pasadomo putting a decent chunk into the reserves, that kind of lessened the pool of money that's available. So it is less this year, but it's still, like I said, a substantial amount of money at $113 billion. When it comes to, and I'm sorry, could you remind me of your second question? I apologize.
Yeah, and the second question is about the sprinkle money. Is it basically to take one of the items that might not have made it to the end, reintroduce that, or is it for other types of projects?
Yeah, so out of the 84 that we proposed, like I said, 24 made its way in. Only those 84 are eligible for that sprinkle money. And I would say it's more so for the ones that if they're not lined up with the House and the Senate, then that money kind of goes towards there as well. But, we do have some other projects that didn't necessarily make it into the budget, but we're having those conversations and advocating and lobbying on behalf of some of these municipalities and also these nonprofits who are looking for money on the back end, and just letting leadership know that, with that sprinkle money, these are some of our other priorities that didn't necessarily make it in, but we're looking to get support. So we've had some verbals of, we're going to try our best to try and get it in from some top people in leadership. So it's a waiting game at this point, and hoping that, they can follow through on that. But again, we're not the only office asking for sprinkle money. It's something that everyone does. So we're hoping for the best, and just going to move forward with what we have and try and work the process as best as possible.
Thank you for that update. And our last item for today, we have 7 minutes, is the Public Space Working Group. Kevin Pulido, if you'd give us an update on the dog park.
Hey there, Anne-Marie. Thank you so much. And just a quick update. So we've been working with our parks team. I had mentioned to you, we're going to do a walkthrough with the MBNA. Unfortunately, I gave you a date, but that date doesn't work anymore. So we're going to get a new date for us to all meet out there. We could do a quick walkthrough. Originally, the idea is to create a dog park in the green space that's nestled between the beach walk and the Pan Coast parking lot. That came from a resident, and it was picked up by the group. While the recommendation is reasonable, we just need to work with the budgeting and make sure it's included in a capital budget. As of right now, we have a proposed budget. So we'd be happy to do the walkthrough and ensure that we're meeting and getting all the different landscaping and the needs, like the little doggy bowls, irrigation, and whatnot. So once we set up that walkthrough, we're going to keep you guys. I'll make sure to send you the budget meetings and whatnot that are taking place, so that way you guys could also be part of that process and continue to advocate for it.
And again, it's before it gets to budget process, we really want to be able to look at it and decide. I think the original rendering and budget we had concerns with.
Yeah.
And so we do want to have, and I think those budgets start end of March, April, maybe, if that's not, or June, July, I'm not sure. I think committees are June, July, but like the formation of them from the departments is pretty early, like soon. It's coming up in the next few months,
Yeah, it's
so.
a little earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to miss that window, so please keep us informed. Now, Miami Beach Drive, Director Gomez, I believe, responded, but I don't have his response in front of me. Does somebody else have access to the email, and just give us an update on where we're at with Miami Beach Drive? If that's Mr. Knowles or Mr. Pulido, whoever might be able to.
I'm gonna ask Rodney, do you have the latest on Miami Beach Drive? And I'll try to pull it up.
Give me a second. Let me try to pull it up.
And I just pulled it up. So I'll start, and Rodney, you could just fill in anything that I do miss.
Sure.
But ultimately, so Director Joe Gomez, our Public Works Director, for those of you that don't know him, we were working closely with Oscar Vasquez and members of the MidBeach Neighborhood Association on really short-term, midterm, and long-term improvements on Miami Beach Drive. So I believe Alicia is going through some of her photos there. And what Director Gomez did, when you all review the response, and I'm sure it'll probably go up on the website, there are some of the short-term improvements were done through our Public Works Operations team. We've also been in constant communication with Oscar and Anna Marie whenever there are, and I think it
Sorry to interrupt, Kevin. So we sent an update on the short, mid, and long-term items that either haven't been addressed and we wanted a status update, or just kind of want to better understand the long-term process of creating that grand vision. So Joe Gomez had developed that outline himself and shared it with us and what he thought would be feasible.
Yeah.
And so that was did you see that response? That was the one I thought.
Yeah, and that's the one he responded to for the short term. Most of those are in progress. So I'm gonna just read through very quickly the mid and long terms, because I think that's probably what the group wants to hear. So for your question, you had a question in respect to the drainage concerns behind Club Atlantis that would require, funding, design, and permitting. So the director responded, we do have a budget item identified for a small nuisance draining projects. The team is currently looking at engineering solutions that do not require Durham permitting, because we all know that has a significant time frame associated with it. It's going to require some club coordination with Club Atlantis, because the majority of the standing water in the area could be related to some roof drainage. So we're going to provide an update as we go into the March meeting. Again, that's the midterm. The long term, which is exciting, and it's on the screen here. So the MidBeach Neighborhood Association, you all are advocating for a master plan for long-term improvements to Miami Beach Drive. So Director Gomez, he's pleased to report that our CIP, Capital Improvements Department, they are including improvements in the fiscal year 25 budget request, which is underway. The project will develop as a master plan and identify long-term improvements to the area. And then David Martinez, our CIP director, he's going to be leading that effort. So I think as it goes through the budget process, again, stay tuned and make sure you are included so we could start that process once it's approved. And as you all know how these projects works, or if you don't know how the projects works, once a project is approved and identified, especially a master plan of this sort, there will be community outreach that will start to take in considerations from the neighborhood. So that's really good news on the long-term project and the midterm project there.
Thank
and
you
Ryan,
so much for that update. No, I just wanted to check in. Are there any questions from the board?
Go ahead, Oscar. Go ahead.
No, I just had one comment, Kevin, and I haven't read Mr. Gomez's response, but we're still getting a lot of trucks entering, and they're entering through just one little spot that just needs one more bollard, and that'll probably shut the entry down. So if we could get that into the short-term progress, but certainly when I review his responses, I'll provide some thoughts and comments.
And real quick on that one specifically, and again, and I was alluding into that when I first started that, thank you all for reporting, because we were able to install some new bollards in the area. And like you said, and you all mentioned that seems to be one area, and we believe we might have some extra bollards. So that seems like it's doable. So our operations teams, they're going to just check the inventory, and if it's there, we'll get it placed.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final comments, questions before we close out at 7:30?
There's a lot happening this month, and thank you all for joining us. We have a lot to advocate for and to work on in the months ahead. But thank you for attending. Thank you, Mayor Minor.
Absolutely. If the board members could stay on for those that can, and for those that can't, we look forward to seeing all of our members next month at our March meeting, and then again in person for our annual meeting on April 10th, 2024. Thank you, everyone. The meeting has adjourned.
Have a good evening.